And this is the last part that I want to focus on is like, for they shall be comforted. And the next question the question I want to pose is, how do we experience this comfort once we have allowed ourselves to mourn? Once we've allowed ourselves to feel our emotions and feel our pain, not suppress it, not deny it, where do we go? And I think the first thing that we have to acknowledge is this. One way is through knowing and believing that God feels our pain with us. And he's not going to leave us there in our pain. So when we feel those emotions, we have to realize that God is with us and he loves us and we're not alone. And I love the story of Jesus comforting the sisters of Lazarus. After Lazarus is dead for 4 days, Jesus comes to Mary and falls at his feet. And she was crying, "Lord, if you had been there, my brother would not have died." And at this point in the story, I think that we can identify with this tragedy, something, her brother died. She's experiencing a tragedy right now, and she's really, really hurt by this. And I think there's a little frustration in her voice too. It says, the scripture says in John 11:33 that when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled, and he wept. And after his period of grieving, he stood up and called out Lazarus' name and raised him from the dead. This is the same Jesus that all of us have a connection to, and he loves us the same way. And I think it's important to realize that when we're going through these periods of suffering, that we're not alone. And that, those tears that Jesus cried for Lazarus, he cries with us. And sometimes that's all it takes for us to open up and to actually deal with the pain that we have, is that we have to realize that his tears are with us. We're not alone in our suffering and in our shame. And I think the second part of this comfort is vulnerability. And it's allowing people who love you to help you through those difficult times. And in John 15:12-13, Jesus commands us, love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay his life down for his friends.